Mr. Face,
Felt like Linkin Park.
aren't you worried you'll alienate the environmentalist vote by participating in today's hunt?
Hey, I cured global warming.
Listen.
All right, so if I want to bag a few birds, shut up.
All right, I think that's enough.
Douchington!
What?
Nice bus, little rascals!
Well, nice plane you had.
Now see?
Past tense.
What's he mean by that?
Buddy?
I think he might have been involved.
Oh, can you hear me? I thought I bit off that ear.
I got a prosthetic one, dick!
Which, pretty sweet we make these.
All right, let's just
I
get some
bet I
photos.
kill twice as many ducks as you!
Ha! This marsh will run red with the fruits of my vicious slaughter.
Within the legal limit, of course.
Yeah, maybe at your mom's house!
Well, wait, what?
And so now Mr. Cruz will hunt.
Well, then put down the bamboo.
What f***ing bamboo?
You gotta put a big pile of it down, and then the mommy panda comes out, and she's like, oh, I gotta find some bamboo for my babies. And you're like, peel her one.
Get out there, you idiot!
Welcome to WYCD Wicked, that stands for What You Can Do, and it is just spooky how accurate Frisky Dingo wound up being to this right now presidential election, including the prosthetic ear. Wild, right? If you're not familiar, Frisky Dingo is a show that was made by the guy who went on to do Archer, Adam Reed. He's also the voice of Xander Cruz there. I don't know why I did the voice of Wendell from Frisky Dingo, but he's also the voice of Wendell. Anyway, how are you all doing? Obsessive Audio, good to see ya. Wicked Foxy Dragon, hello. Looney Tunes, Environmental Coffee House, Rad. Good to see ya, friends. Good to see ya. I was watching Environmental Coffee House when I was setting up. I was excited because they had Nadia. Oh, is it Chambers? The gal who's been in our comments a lot, and I'm always she's got an interesting perspective. I wanted to hear, and I realized this is the joy of having my own show. I can go on wherever. I was annoyed that I was going to have to end to do my show, and I'm like, I don't though. I could just do this whenever I want. So. The title of the stream hopefully is updated now, but yeah, the stream is the post-Sandy stream. Gang, we gonna keep it casual. Casual. I'm just reacting to the RNC and some recent news about Biden might be of value. But I do want to talk to you generally about chilling the fuck out. There are a lot of important things happening, and I don't think anybody should feel bad for caring a lot. But just because something's important doesn't mean it's dire. And just because one option is better than the other doesn't mean that either option is necessarily bad. I say this because I see a lot of people seemingly quite nervous when it comes to the topic of Joe Biden. Maybe I should be recording. I should be recording this. I'm going to record. But I'll tell you so you're not left on a cliffhanger. I think we're fine. However it goes, I think we're fine. Give me a second. I got to do the whole, this is technically a business thing. So I should take it seriously. Yeah, on the concept of Joe Biden, and will he be the Democrats' presidential candidate? I see a lot of folks seeming to be very nervous. And look, that's okay. I don't want you to feel bad for caring. It's good to care. But my perspective, which I offer to you, is that it's not necessary. Not one candidate being better than another, whichever way you feel on it, does not necessarily mean either candidate is bad. To that end, centrist Democrats, like the old-fashioned Democratic Party, they are pushing hard to get Biden out of the White House. Or rather, to get him to not be the candidate for 2024. Where does the time go? Strangely, in a turn of events that would not have been predicted by anybody, including those involved, progressives seem to be the ones, at least progressive politicians, are the ones lining up behind Biden. Here is something I want you all to consider. Trump got shot, and the polls barely wiggled. Biden went on stage and mumbled nonsense during the debate, and the polls barely wiggled. They didn't go up. And the case that the Democratic Party is making, I think, is a fair one, even if you don't agree with them. The points they're bringing up are true, which is that it shouldn't be close right now, and it's close. Trump has 34 felony convictions, and it's close. That is a problem, but notice that the polls have been not moving very drastically, considering how drastic the news has been of late. That tells me that people are not voting based on who Joe Biden is, and they will not be voting based on who the Democrats select to run in his stead if it comes to that. They're voting based on what MAGA is and what Republicans have done and what they are saying they will do. At least that's where their political opinions seem to be formed. That's good news for us. Whatever we do, whoever we end up going with, just has to be able to make the case for why Trump is bad. And you know what? That's not a difficult case to make. He's pretty obviously horrible. I could make the case to you for why drinking water with rusty nails in it is not a good idea. I probably don't have to try very hard because it's just inherently obvious. You saw Trump at the RNC last night, and you weren't already a Trump supporter, you're probably not now a Trump supporter. It was the same wacky stuff that he always does. But the shock value is decreasing. It's less charming to see a politician do this stuff and just be like, oh, wow. That's subversive. It's not subversive anymore. It's just who Republicans are. And yet, there's a good reason that Democrats are pushing to get Biden out, because Trump, being the Mango Mussolini that he is, should be just molly-whopped in every single poll he is in. He's not. Now there's more calls coming from the DNC to get rid of him. Folks, this could be the weekend it happens, if it does end up happening. Biden, shouldn't laugh too hard at this, but Biden was talking about if God told him to get out of the race, or if his doctor told him to get out of the race because he had a health condition. Immediately following that, he got COVID. Also, God and doctors aside, Democrats are now piling up. 2 senators were among a flood, this is from the Washington Post, of at least a dozen Democrats who called on President Biden to drop out of the presidential race Friday. The largest single-day wave of lawmakers asking him to step aside since his disastrous debate performance last month. Again, even if you don't agree with them, let me just lay out what their pitch is here. Essentially, you get 2 opportunities with the nation's attention and your opponent on stage in modern American politics. The 2 presidential debates. during one of them, Biden did, just being real here, probably as badly as any candidate for president has ever performed during a debate. And he did so poorly that the nation wasn't paying attention to what Trump was doing at all. And that is what is critically needed. Got another one coming in September. Democrats want somebody on stage who's going to destroy Trump. I think that's not unreasonable, frankly. Although I'm not convinced that Biden couldn't. If he did a little bump or whatever. Senator Sherrod Brown from Ohio and Martin Heinrich from New Mexico? Weird. It's weird that they're using the punctuation there, but that's probably correct because they're the Washington Post and I'm some guy. And 10 House members on Friday added their names to the rapidly growing list of Democrats worried that Biden was on track to lose the election to Republican nominee Donald Trump. But the president's campaign reiterated in no uncertain terms that he would be staying put. For context, and I'm sure you've heard this already, but in case you hadn't, he basically has to say he's staying in up until he announces that he's getting out. Because if you say I'm considering it, that's the end. That means you're out. You can't go back to a normal campaign where they're like, didn't you say you were considering dropping out? I was, but now I'm not going to. Well, why were you considering it? That's what all the talk will be about. The tense standoff between the president and his own party, I added the word own there, set up a pivotal clash that is expected to intensify this weekend and could reach its culmination next week. The increasingly intense impasse between supporters and skeptics of the president suggests there is no end in sight to the Democratic infighting that has surrounded Biden's candidacy, as both sides have grown more dug in and willing to allow the standoff to play out in public. I think the president should end his campaign, Brown said in a statement Friday. Heinrich, hailing from a traditionally Democratic state, AIDS fear has suddenly become competitive, called on Biden to step aside for the good of the country. Jumping down, less than 2 hours after O'Malley Dillon's appearance, 4 House Democrats released a joint statement calling on Biden to pass the torch, the broadest collective effort from Congress thus far, and a move some officials said was representative of a larger growing groundswell against Biden among lawmakers that could erupt into view if Biden does not step aside over the weekend. We must face reality. The push highlights an unmistakably ramped up push in Congress, yada, 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 yada. Let's see if they mention the squad. Do they mention the squad? Can we get a mention even when they're on the side of the incumbent? Ooh. The makeup of 4 lawmakers. Oh my God. Hey, there we go. On Friday, Biden campaign aides pointed to support, so Biden had to point it out. Washington Post wasn't going to do it on their own. The president had received from key figures, including liberal lawmakers such as Senator Bernie Sanders. Remember, they still use the word liberal to mean left-wing. Washington Post, kind of behind the times, but okay. Such as Senator Bernie Sanders and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. During a lengthy Instagram live session Thursday night, Ocasio-Cortez told supporters that ousting Biden would lead to chaos and harm the party's chances of defeating Trump. Sanders, speaking on Morning Joe, offered a full-throated endorsement of Biden, saying the president could help Democrats win in a big way. All right. So, quick reminder, it's fine. Are all these people arguing over whether or not it's important to beat Donald Trump? No. Which means that the message America is getting every time they hear these factions argue is it is so important that we beat Donald Trump that we're willing to embarrass ourselves. Great. That's fantastic news. Guess what? If you like Biden, Biden runs best in a scenario where we are talking about how terrible Donald Trump is. if you want somebody to replace Biden, if that's who you think ought to be on the ticket, well, a great story behind their candidacy is that Trump is such a deranged villain that we're doing this Hail Mary to get me on the ticket to beat him, because it's just that important. Good. This is all fine. This all pushes the narrative, I feel, that frankly, anybody who wants America to remain a democracy needs to push, which is that the problem is Trump. The all-important thing is beating Trump. We don't maintain a democracy unless we defeat Trump. It's true. If you're for Biden, don't feel too terribly bad. First of all, even if he does get booted, he's already been president once. That's a pretty high watermark on a career. And if he doesn't get booted, this campaign against him is focusing largely on what a villain Trump is. And all the people who are working so hard to get rid of him now aren't going to have more hard feelings for Biden than they do for Trump. They will be campaigning for him if he stays in. But I want to remind everybody, it really is Biden's choice. No, there's not much anybody can do if Biden says, I'm not releasing my delegates. I'm staying in this thing, and I'm going to beat Trump in November. You can whine about it if you want. Prefer you didn't, but do as you please. But just know that regardless of what you do, I'm staying in. He can say that. He can do that. One interesting element of this, which I want to talk to you all about, is, well, let me first of all tell you what you can do. I want to be clear, though, I don't know what you should do. So you should consider this a little bit. What you can do if you want to affect this one way or the other is, if you're represented by a Democrat, write your representative and tell them you want them to speak out one way or the other. I'm not sure which way you should go with this, though. I genuinely believe, I may be wrong, and it'll be impossible for us to tell because only one of these things can happen, but I genuinely believe that our odds of winning are about the same and are in fact pretty good either way. I do not think Biden is good on the campaign trail. I think he's actually notably terrible at it. But I think most Americans seem to be getting the message. It's senility versus evil. We'll freaking take senility. There's no question there. However, I'm just saying, do as you please. You actually will have an effect on this if your representatives speak out for or against Biden. So if you feel that you want to affect it, write your representatives. That is what you can do. Okay. Now the interesting thing. Progressives seem to be heartily on Joe Biden's side, whereas the centrist Democrats are heartily against him. That's very odd. Very, very odd. I can understand why the Dems, the old-fashioned party leaders, essentially, are doing what they're doing. There's, after looking at that debate, I could see why you'd get cold feet and say, "Oh God, well, we got to switch up the leadership." I don't get why progressives are riding with Biden. I really don't. I am indifferent at best, but I would think that progressives would be a little saltier over Gaza. But then again, let me offer this. And I'm going to rip this basically straight from the majority report, but it was a good point. In 2016, Sam Cedar said this, so don't give me credit for being a smart guy. But in 2016, the establishment of the Democratic Party got together and said, Biden, don't run. And he didn't. They said it was Hillary's time. Hillary ran. She lost to Trump. 2020, same thing. They asked Biden not to run. Eventually, they got on his side, but not at the beginning. Biden beat Trump. Now here they are. They're so wrong every time. As it relates to Trump and Biden specifically, wrong every time. Here they are again. They're saying Biden don't run. I can absolutely see why Biden is going, okay, all right, this again. Really? Even when I'm the incumbent, every time, you morons have no idea what you're talking about. It's understandable why he would feel that way. I just don't get why progressives are going out on a limb for Biden. I have thoughts. I have some guesses. I think possibly they feel the way I do, where it doesn't matter which centrist Dem is at the top of the ticket. Not really. And it is a risk to switch them out. If for no other reason, because Americans are sick of the chaos that Trump brings, but we'll be creating our own chaos amongst the Democrats with this possibility. But despite not caring, progressives are thinking, perhaps since it doesn't matter, let's take this opportunity to make Biden more progressive. Exactly as I have been telling you is possible with all of our politicians. We have leverage points. We have opportunities wherein to leverage our support to make any candidate more progressive. And possibly this is just what's happening right now. I'm not going to dwell on it much longer, though, because I don't know. Regardless, I want you all not make this one of your major stressors in life. It is an important decision. Got to be made. Who's going to run against Trump? Yeah, we should have made that decision a long time ago. But you know what? We'll survive making it late. And regardless, we're going to talk about this in the next segment. Trump's doing a great job of showing the whole nation why he shouldn't be in charge of running a food court, much less a country. Give it some thought, and we'll see what the wicked community has to say. Devon Bledsoe. Hey now, it's Friday. Patrick Kibido. Good to see you, my friend. My rep is Lloyd Doggett. He was one of the first ones to call for Biden to step down. He is 77. Honestly, I don't expect you to necessarily know this. It's fine if you don't, but based off what you've seen of Lloyd Doggett. Is he savvy? Is he the sort of person who we should look at in this regard, like as a reader of the tea leaves? I don't know much. My representative is Rashida Tlaib, and she is. I mean, I don't want to take undue credit here. She's staying out of it, basically, under the reasoning that I have given you. But like, that's a pretty common opinion. You just don't hear it as often because it's less you can do less with it in terms of news. Like, I don't give he's a centrist Dem. What do you want? Another centrist? Is it going to be a progressive they're going to put in? No. Okay, so what do I care? We need somebody who can beat Trump. All right, well, y'all figure out who you need. And we'll keep attacking Trump because he's deserving of it. and people need to know he's a villain. But like, no violin is played for any side in that particular split. So what does Doggett think? What's his reasoning? How savvy has he been in the past? Obsessive audio. The hope was that Biden could buck the 4 years of New York Times self-fulfilling prophecy. But he would have had to be full on to do that, which he hasn't been able to. That's a good assessment, I would say. OTOH, on the other hand, okay, there could be also obsessive audio. On the other hand, there could be a serious boost with an alternate candidate. Yeah. And not even necessarily because the candidate is charismatic or because they come with donors that wouldn't have donated to Biden, but simply because it'll be a headline. That alone gives them a certain degree of value. It gives them an opportunity to say, like, all right, now for a full day the cameras are on me. I'm going to use this to effectively lay out why Donald Trump is a villain. I'm going to make it memorable. I'm going to make it easy to pass on. And when I do this, a couple of million people are going to see it and hopefully pass it on. Here's one disastrous way this could go, I feel. Biden could say, I'm not stepping down, but we're going to make it an open convention. Let me adjust this a little bit. Yeah. He could say, I'm not stepping down, but we're going to make this an open convention. So if you're with me, vote for me again. Let's settle this thing. I say that's disastrous because I think it would be disastrous. I think he would get tepid support and maybe just barely win. It would only, yeah. Not going to dwell on that because hopefully there's other folks saying the same thing. Devon Bledsoe. Oh no, we are going to win with Kamala. You know, maybe. Maybe. Why not? As long as they can get out there and be like, all right, so here's Project 2025 on page 5. Let me pull this up here. Actually, I can get very specific with you. On page 5, they want to legally classify trans people as pedophiles. So first of all, just bigotry right off the top. But as with all bigotry, it doesn't end with just mean feelings. On page 554, they say they want to execute pedophiles. Do you see what they did there? Separated by 549 pages, saying that they want to call trans people pedophiles legally, and then another law that says we kill pedophiles. So they want to kill trans people. That's their plan. That's one of many evil things they intend to do. And they get away with it. Shockingly, successfully, they get away with it by just separating those two elements of the plan by 500 pages of other terrifying things. So you never put it all together until you see it happening. Project 2025. That's what we are campaigning against. Donald Trump's Project 2025. There can never again, by the way, there can never again be another Republican elected to office. The fact that there have been any after January 6th is a disgrace. This party should be so taboo. It should be that if you were ever a Republican, you hide that fact from the general public. And that if ever again you're even running for something, and that comes out that you were once upon a time a Republican, it should be like finding out you were once a member of the Klan. That's how evil the Republican Party is. Republican voters, they're victims of con artists. I get angry with them frequently, but let's be clear, it's not their fault. It's the con artists' fault. The Republican Party. So anybody who has been a Republican politician is a villain and should be treated as such, at least after January 6th. There's no reason in the world After January 6th, you cannot claim ignorance to what they're all about. Frankly, it's ridiculous that you could have before that. But to be a kind person, I'll put the latest date you could be a Republican and still be a human being worthy of consideration as January 6th. Tinkerbell, good to see you. Logan Hill. Who are we talking about? Sheila Jackson Lee has just died. Oh, shit. Not handing over reins is hard for these folks. She ran for office twice knowing she had cancer and was as old as she was. Okay, never mind. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong Sheila Jackson Lee. She was an American lawyer and politician who served as the U.S. representative for Texas's 18th congressional district, having served since 1995. Yep. I was thinking of the wrong person. I apologize. All right, so according to CNN, oh, what the hell? Let's just do this proper. Do a bonus segment here. Thank you for the heads up, Logan Hill. Sheila Jackson Lee has died. Thank you, Logan Hill, for the heads up. Logan Hill saying she ran for office twice, knowing that she had cancer. Brutal. Accurate. But brutal. Here's something worth considering. I was going to say she was in Texas, but she was in Texas's 18th congressional district. I have a feeling we're going to find out that was a hub of sympathetic to Democratic folks, but maybe I'm wrong. Sheila Jackson Lee, long-serving Democratic congresswoman and an advocate for Black Americans, dies at 74. Sheila Jackson Lee, yada yada. A fierce champion of the people, she was affectionately and simply known as Congresswoman by her constituents in recognition of her near-ubiquitous presence and service to their daily lives for more than 30 years. A local, national, and international humanitarian, she was acknowledged worldwide for her courageous fights for racial justice, criminal justice, and human rights, with a special emphasis on women and children, her family said in a statement. Jackson Lee announced in June that she had been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. At the time, she acknowledged that the road ahead will not be easy. She said she had faith that God will strengthen me. Oh, here's something worth noting. Her legislative victories impacted millions, from establishing the Juneteenth federal holiday to reauthorizing the Violence Against Women Act. However, she impacted us most as our beloved wife, sister, mother, and grandmother. She will be dearly missed. That's her. Well, I thank her for her service. I'm sorry she passed. I'm sorry that we are a little bit more blunt here, but I'm sorry we're losing the votes. The vote. House Representatives. We need every single one we can get. Oh, what a time to be in politics. My condolences to the Lee family. Sounds like she was a good person. I appreciate especially the getting Juneteenth recognized the holiday. Not going to be easy for us, is it? Logan Hill, hard to let go when you feel and hear how much you changed the places you live. Yeah. I'm a lot more sympathetic people in the House of Representatives than elsewhere, simply because of that. I could see how you feel like it's your hometown and thus you're the only person who can represent it, you know? I don't think it's okay to hold on to power or to take power if you can't hold on to it for the full allotted time. But I understand. And, as far as she knew, before that pancreatic cancer announcement, she might have thought, oh, I'm in remission. I'm 74. The president's older than that. Surely I can handle this. I don't know. I don't have the energy, though. If she might have been wrong, I don't have the energy to look into it. Because there's greater villains about. There's Trump. Till we get Trump, Netanyahu, and Putin all in prison cells, I'm going to be real pleasant to anybody who's just done an imperfect job of trying to make the world better. Devon Bledsoe, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Know when to fold, but hey, hell of a healthcare plan. Hope she has a nice homecoming. Well, to Jesus, presumably. Steph C, it's also almost impossible to get a comment in because all the comments on our videos have amen, thank you, bless you, all kinds of stuff like that. And there are hundreds of them. Yeah, well, she just passed. I mean, give him time. That's not sad. Devon Bledsoe. Not to sound crass, she was a classy person. Yeah. Yeah. All right. RNC reactions, gang. Now, you all know I am a petty bitch. So petty, in fact, that I am going to record this different. RNC reaction time, gang. You do know that I am as petty as they come. And I have a whole political party worthy of my petty sass. So let's get to it. Donald Trump's a maniac. So he did not contact the family of the guy that died during his assassination attempt until after a story came out about how he hadn't done that and Joe Biden had. So he makes up for it. He tries to make up for it. Brings out the guy's uniform on stage. Kisses it in a gross, weird, performative way. And gets other people to give her money. I want to stress this. He didn't pay for his own F-up. He, who is, according to him, a billionaire, didn't write her a check, got other people donate money to her. Frankly, I don't even know if it was his idea. Maybe it was. Maybe he put something out somewhere that said, "Hey, donate money to this family. They just lost one at my rally." But he's such a scumbag, he might have just seen that other Republican had gathered together to donate money to this person's family and took credit for it. That's what a punk this guy is. He didn't call the family until yesterday. Do my Biden. Yesterday. He didn't call until that very day. Because he only gives a shit about himself. He doesn't care about you or anybody else. He cares about himself only. So there was that. He gave a 90-minute rambling speech, which I regret immensely not covering. Because as I was watching other people cover it, I was rattling off, I was venting. I was sitting in the studio, and the only difference was the mic wasn't positioned here, but I was saying the sort of things that I say on stream all the time. I'm sorry I didn't cover it. Because it was Trump being exactly as he always is. Like, he was doing that thing where he says his campaign notes, or like the notes that his whatever coaches gave to him, but he was saying them as talking points. He was saying like almost verbatim. Look for that. Look for those speech patterns when you see him, because he'll if he's been told to bring up the murder rate, he'll be like, "And remember murder rate. You got to remember murder rate." It's through the roof, this murder rate. You got to remember it. His whole speech was just that. He talked about how he described the shooting, and he could not help but lie about it. Even though it's something we've all seen now, like a bajillion times, he couldn't help but like try to spin it so that everything that he likes was more awesome. He said like, and in one motion, I was down on the ground. He was like describing him going like this as like the sort of thing a Navy SEAL would have done. You know, I instantly knew what it was, and in one motion, I was on the ground in the podium cover position that they teach the SEALs, and it was amazing. You know, the whole crowd, they knew what to do. Normally, you'd see them run to the exits, but they didn't. They knew what to do. The whole crowd, they stood in the ready position. You mean they froze? Everybody froze because nobody knew what was going on. And it was over in like 5 seconds. And only after was it over did you start doing things. And then only then did you go with your first instinct, which was to tell America to fight. He tried to make it seem like he was a hero when he was not. They have pointedly ignored the fact that the shooting was their fault. It was done with an AR-15. That gun, if Democrats would have had their way, wouldn't have been in the shooter's hands. The guy standing behind Trump, who got killed, actually I suppose he was behind Trump from the shooter's perspective, who got killed, he'd be alive if Democrats had beat Republicans enough to pass the legislation that Democrats were trying to pass, because he would not have had that weapon. By the way, the guy was a registered Republican. Yes, he donated $15 to Democrats years ago. And, oh, by the way, it appears that it didn't have anything to do with Biden. Didn't have anything to do with Democrats. Didn't even have anything much, seems, to do with the Republicans. We still don't know why Thomas Crooks did what he did, but we do know that there is no apparent, obvious reason. Maybe it was suicide by cop. We just don't know. Certainly, though, Trump's calls for unity following the shooting, after his political team had a moment to consult him on what to do, are contrary to what he did immediately after the shooting, which is tell everybody who was just riled up by a very traumatic event to fight, and the whole nation watching. Fight, he said. At the RNC, where they called for unity. Chants of fight, 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 fight were repeated. He got Hulk Hogan. You know, that racist scumbag used the N-word a lot. That guy. He got him. Oh, yeah, also a professional wrestler. Got him to come out, rile up the crowd. Got Dana White. You know, the wife beater. He also owns all UFC. Got him to come out, rile up the crowd. And Trump lied in an inflammatory way about Democrats. In other words, it was if the nation was supposed to believe that Trump was trying to unify anything, they didn't even make it through the RNC before that effort failed. The nation, I don't think anybody who's followed Trump seriously over the last couple of years had any doubt at all that Trump was lying about wanting to unify people. Of course he was lying. He is a liar. But if there was any outsiders watching, they were not left with the impression that that's what Trump was up to, because he clearly was trying to rile up the nation more. Also, if you were watching that thing and you weren't a Trump fan, I am sure the question you had is, what the f*** is going on? because it was a 90-minute rambling speech wherein he aired all of his personal grievances that just, I guess, came to mind. Tried to make it seem like he was totally rad during the shooting. And when he left, he snubbed one of his kids. Oh yeah, at the RNC they spent a lot of time trying to make him look like a decent family man. And yet, when Tiffany, who apparently turned him down too roughly one time, when Tiffany tried to give him a kiss goodbye on the way out or a hug, I don't know what she was going in for necessarily. He didn't even acknowledge her. He just blew past her. All great news if you are hoping that Donald Trump loses in November. In other words, if you're not a moron. What did you guys think? I saw some of y'all were watching the Majority Report. Looney Tunes 9000. Lee Greenwood was being an old-ass hillbilly singing that stupid God Bless the USA song. Yeah. Steph C., Lex Friedman, and Hope, a bunch of these fighters like Joe Rogan have something going on. Yeah. Oh, God, obsessive audio. Kid Rock squealing the worst lyrics ever over a Metallica loop. I fucking hate Kid Rock so much. I revoke his Michigander status. He is not a Michigander. He can get the fuck out. If I see him around these parts, it's on site with that motherfucker. Kid Rock has become a Ted Nugent level scumbag, and just like I cannot enjoy the song Stranglehold anymore, I also cannot enjoy the song Cowboy anymore. Yeah, I liked it once upon a time. I never said I was a classy fella. But I can't anymore. Because he's just too evil. It's like if you find out a painting you liked was by Hitler. Like, it takes the fun out of it. Man, I still listen to Michael Jackson, and I can't listen to Kid Rock. Kid Rock is the J.D. Vance of Michigan. Tinkerbell, why did you just make me so sad? You're right. Wicked Foxy Dragon. Classic Trump. Yes. Snubbing Tiffany really is classic Trump, isn't it? I swear, I think she must have just turned down his advances. So there's at least, Pinkerbell says, so there's at least 2 WWE Hall of Famers, and we're supposed to take this party seriously? Really? Truly. Looney Tunes 9000. Oh, God, that racist son of a bitch, yeah. Wicked Foxy Dragon, Pondering Politics, did a very good video about this. I'll check it out. Oh, my God. When obsessive audio, when Hulk Hogan ripped his shirt, it was in the shape of an angel. Help me out. Are there any pro wrestlers who are, like, cool? I feel like CM Punk might be. Well, Jesse Ventura, he's at least pro-union. He's not a union scab. Obsessive audio, very interesting that Trump hasn't released any ear pictures, or that there haven't been more medical details. Perhaps it was plastic from the teleprompter after all. I mean, to bleed the amount he did, he at the very least has a big long scratch. There's no way that he bled that much, and the condition of his ear today isn't at least slightly wounded. There's just no way. So I suspect that it probably doesn't look all that bad, and he probably is hamming it up a little bit with the thing. But I also suspect that the thing is necessary, and he probably was told, keep this covered so it doesn't get infected. You got hit. You either got shot with a bullet or hit by shrapnel, but, like, what difference does it make? I know for the political story it makes a difference. There's a different line to say I got shot versus I was wounded in a shooting, but, like, I'm sure. You know what? Fuck it. It's Trump. It's always safer to assume he's doing something shady as hell. I take it back. You're right. It probably is a disaster. Obsessive audio. Okay, what you can do. The Shape of an Angel was a joke in reference to MTG talking about the USA flag before the shooting. Oh, I missed it. I thought you were talking about him still being jacked. Because I was going to say, Hulk Hogan is still jacked. I mean, credit where it's due. He is still pretty damn ripped. He's in it. How old is Hulk Hogan? He's always looked like beef jerky. Hulk Hogan, age. He's 70 years old. That's worthy of note. But no, I'm sorry. I didn't catch the Shape of an Angel joke. Tinkerbell, I don't want to see his ear wound. Logan Hill beating me to it. I don't want to see him. Yeah. The good news, folks, is the motherfucker got apparently shot, possibly just wounded generically, but wounded in an assassination attempt, and people still hate him. And he immediately killed all the momentum of that story by behaving like a clown at the RNC. The rest of the crew did too. J.D. Vance... Who gives a about J.D. Vance? If nothing else, it's an opportunity for us to talk about, hey, why not Mike Pence? Hey, Trump. Hey, Trump. Let me do Jiminy Glick for a second. Hey, Trump. Why not Mike Pence? Why not Mike Pence? Why is he off the ticket? I've actually heard people saying, well, Mike Pence is off the ticket because they don't need the evangelical vote anymore. Motherfucker, what? No, it's because he tried to hang him. He's off the ticket because he ran against him. Because his last vice president thinks he's a traitor. A murderous traitor. And he's correct. Trump is a murderous traitor. He's that. So J.D. Vance, is he charismatic enough that he's going to make up for the fact that his very existence as the vice presidential candidate is because Trump tried to get his last VP killed, and then his last VP ran against him? No, he's not. I think things are pretty good, actually. I would like to get this sorted out. R.E. Biden and how we are going to organize the resistance against this MAGA campaign. But it will be. And then we're going to win. You all are going to vote. You all are going to get your friends to vote. Donate your time or your money if you've got extra to spare. But just get your butts to the poll. Share the crazy stuff you hear about Trump on social media. You hear somebody say an untrue thing, correct them. Don't be like I have been over the last couple of months. Correct them politely, because that'll work. And it's not about what makes you feel good. It's about what needs to be done. What needs to be done is we need to start operating in reality in this country. And the reality is Donald Trump is a villain who cannot be allowed to be in charge of anything. And the nation is starting to see that. Following that... Oh, by the way, Trudeau. We're going to talk about Trudeau. Hey, Nina Canadian, we're going to talk about Trudeau eventually. Probably tomorrow a bit, because he has used the craziness of this to duck out of the political spot he's been in, where he's likely to be replaced. I still think he will be. But we'll talk about the rest of the world soon. But things are wild around here right now, and it bears some airing out. On a related note, you know what? You'll see it when you see it. I'm going to skedaddle and go do a mysterious thing. This has been WYCD Wicked, that stands for What You Can Do, and the fella you're about to hear is Donald James. Also, my name's Jake. Every time again. Beacon Hill with the very kind $5 super chat. Thank you. My man, I appreciate it.